Well, Don Imus is now out of a job. Leading the charge to take him off the air was the Reverend Al Sharpton. But Kansas City Star columnist Jason Whitlock says Sharpton's outrage is focused in the wrong direction. Both gentlemen are joining us this morning. Nice to see you. Thank you for talking with us. First and foremost, Reverend, let's begin with you. How do you feel today? I mean, what happened was exactly what you had asked for from the get-go. So is vindicated the right word? Do you feel progress was made?
No, I think that it's a lot more to do. You know, we've been fighting this battle the last couple of years, and it intensified about what's happening on the airways, what's happening in many of our communities. National Action Network, my group, 2 years ago at our convention said we were going after some of these music companies, some of these people that have polluted the airways, have had meetings with FCC. Imus fell within the whole sphere of that, and it's certainly within the sphere of what we fight civil rights. So when the National Association of Black Journalists came out and looked and called for his firing, we came out right behind them, and the rest became history. But I think it's really sad that we have to address these issues. This is 2007, and to have to still talk about these kinds of things. How could we feel good about it?
At the same time, Jason, you said that you actually thought in all of this Imus was irrelevant and insignificant. I'm quoting you on that. What do you mean? Why?
To us as black people, he carries no weight in our community. He has no influence over us. He doesn't define us. He's not the one defining our women as bitches and hoes. We know who that is. Don Imus is insignificant, and we've turned him into this all-powerful figure and actually have put these young women at risk. They're now being harassed, death threats, because
so
people don't...
let me stop you there. Are you saying that then it was wrong-headed to go after Don Imus in the way that...
I think that an apology should have been demanded from Don Imus, and we should have asked MSNBC and CBS, you guys deal with him. He's an idiot, and then moved on from there. The press conferences, the over-the-top picketing, reaction, it just went way too far. Well, Don Imus doesn't move us, doesn't carry any weight in our community.
Let me get to the Reverend Sharpton, because of course you talk about the picketing and the calls for protests. I mean, he's talking about you.
Again, my argument is not with him. I think when the young ladies had their press conference, they made it very clear when Essence spoke that they were aware of what we were doing and was happy with what we were doing. So I mean, again, these girls are very intelligent, speak for themselves. I think the issue now is where we go from here. Imus was just a portion of preserving the airways. And I think you can't, at one hand, as we have challenged the hip-hoppers and challenged those that are doing this daily in our community, without also challenging others, saying, because you are big and because you have these presidential candidates and senators on your show, we won't take you on. He says that MSNBC and CBS should have been told what to do with, told to deal with him. That's what we did. We told them to deal with him.
Well, at the same time, though, there's certainly many rappers who use those words all the time. I mean, all the time, and have for a long time. And those are rappers who, in many cases, are represented by Universal. Universal's owned by NBC. I mean, there's a big connection back to big corporations.
Exactly.
So
and that's part of the two things in both the NBC CEO meeting and the meeting with CBS. We said we've got to talk about your other side here, your entertainment side. We've got to talk about the fact that many of you are in the business of this whole climate that is devastating our community. And we've got to talk about the lack of inclusion of people of color on the airwaves. I mean, if you look at America and look at most of our primetime shows, you don't even see us. And you don't see us behind the camera, where maybe if someone was in the studios, then Imus would not have gotten away with this for years.
Let me give a final question to Jason this morning, and it's going to be about a case that we followed as well, which are these 3 young men from Duke University who really had their lives ruined for the last year, to put it pretty simply. Do you think that there should have been people marching and calling for justice for them?
Absolutely.
In all
Absolutely. You must maintain the moral high ground. You must have some consistency about you. Injustice for one is injustice for all. Those young men were exploited the same way these young basketball players have been exploited by Jesse and Al. They run around the country exploiting these young people, making the problems much bigger than what they should be. These 3 kids down at Duke, these basketball players, have been used and exploited, and it's unfortunate.
Well, we're out of time, but I'm going to let you respond for a second.
I think, first of all, the young ladies spoke for themselves and their gratitude to us. you've never heard people that we fought for say that. There's always guys that are not in the ring that want to call the fights. And that, you know, they're going in the ring. You're going to have critics. We try to win. And on behalf of the people we're fighting for. You can't satisfy people not involved in the fight.
Reverend Al Sharpton joining us this morning. Also, Jason Whitlock from the Kansas City Star. Gentlemen, I appreciate both of you. Thanks for being with us.